Hello guys, so I'm back with another recipe and today it's going to be veggie burgers. So in the blender I have 2 cans of beans. I chose black beans and pinto beans, but you can choose whatever beans you'd like of your choice. And then I also have 3 sauteed onions on top. So I'm gonna link the recipe below, so there'll be like in a description there'll be like all the measurements and everything, because it's gonna be hard to keep up with the measurements as I go since I'm making such a huge batch. So just keep up with me. So I'm gonna try to blend this. As you can see, my blender is super shitty, so it's gonna take me a while, but I have this wooden spoon right here just to keep scraping the sides. So this is basically the consistency that you're looking for. It doesn't have to be super smooth, as long as you kind of have like a paste going, because this is what's gonna hold all those grains that I have in there together. So in here I have some lentils that I have cooked and they've cooled down. I'm also gonna add sweet potato to it, and I'm gonna mash these together. If you don't want to mash the sweet potatoes with the lentils, you can just add them to the bean and onion mixture and puree them. Good luck to you if you have the same blender as me. I want to say that I have made them before without a blender and just mash the beans and the onion. If you don't care for like bits and pieces in there in your veggie burgers, it'll totally work. You don't need a blender for this recipe. But I like to puree the onion just so the flavor is all even throughout the whole recipe. So as you can see, this is like, I don't even know if this bowl is going to be big enough to hold all my ingredients together. But I do like to make a really big batch of these veggie burgers whenever I make them, because they freeze really well and they can stay in the freezer for up to 6 months. And they're a lot cheaper than veggie burgers that you buy in store. And you can make them bigger than the ones that you buy frozen. So you can actually have a decent sized patty in your burger. So to this, I'm going to add my quinoa, and it's a lot of quinoa. I also added, what is this called? Veggie paste to my quinoa. So if you don't have this, you can just use veggie stock instead of water to cook your quinoa, and it gives it a lot of flavor. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a challenge to fit in a bowl, but we'll make it work. So yeah, I'm just going to keep mixing until I have everything incorporated. I'm going to add my bean paste in there as well, and then I'll show you what I use to season it and what my secret recipe to these veggie burgers are. Alright, so it took me a little bit, but I got everything mixed up, and I also took like a quarter of it and put it aside because this recipe makes for great meatballs as well. But I'm going to save that for another recipe. And I'm going to add garlic powder. And I'm also going to add some paprika to give it that smoky flavor. I'm not going to add any salt because I seasoned all my ingredients separately very well, and that veggie paste is very salty, so I don't think I need it. This is Vital Gluten, and I'll show you what the package looks like. This is the one that I get from Whole Foods. It's not that much money either, surprisingly. And this is how you make seitan as well, from this gluten. So this is what gives my veggie burgers that more of a chewy versus soft texture. Most veggie burgers that are frozen just fall apart on you, and I've used flour before and it just doesn't work as well, and I've noticed that I need a lot of flour for it to even work. So I'm just gonna mix all of these together, and then I should be ready to start forming my veggie burgers. So now it's time to form my patties, and I have a bowl of water here because it's gonna help from them stick into my hands. And I also have a half cup measuring cup. So I'm gonna get some water in that too. I use a measuring cup because it helps me make them all the same size. And I feel like this is the perfect amount for one veggie burger. I do like them a little big, but you can use a third if that's too big for you, or even a quarter cup. And I just form them like that, and I place it on my baking tray. I also have the oven at 375, and I'm just gonna keep forming these, and I'll show you how many I make in the end. So I just finished forming my veggie patties, and look at this. As you can see, I like to make them really, really big. So depending on the size that you form them, it's going to change the time they spend in the oven. So the size of mine, it will vary from 40 minutes to an hour. But if you make them half the size, obviously you don't want to cook them for that long because they will burn. So I'm going to put them in my oven that is preheated to 375, and I will show you guys what they look like when they're done. So I just took my veggie burgers out of the oven, and I just want to show you what they look like. They were in there for like close to an hour, 55 minutes. And this is what they look like. I also made a burger just to show you how well they hold in the middle. And that's the end of the recipe, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. There you have it. Totally oil-free, very high carb, low fat, cheap veggie burgers. I also want to mention that the sweet potato and the lentils are totally optional. If you don't want to use them, just substitute for more beans. I've made them before without it. I just basically just wanted to add the more nutrients and vitamins to these veggie burgers. But you can totally just use quinoa, onions, and beans in the seasonings and Vital Gluten, and you'll have perfectly fine veggie burgers. And that's it. Thank you for watching.